Hello and welcome to Always Elite. Today we're going to review AEW's Double or Nothing from this past Saturday. We're going to start with the buy-in. It was Private Party versus Best Friends. There was lots of botches in this match. I mean, a lot. Surprised that Chuck and Trent didn't get hurt more than they really did. Although Private Party with a G9, which is a tribute to Shad guest spot, who was with JTG in the WWE as Crime Time, and that was one of their signature moves. Trent reverses Gin and Juice to set up the Strong Zero for the win, and Best Friends become the #1 contenders for the tag team titles. Let's move on to the main card now. It was the Casino ladder match. Winner to get a shot at the AEW World title. The match starts with 2 men in the ring, and every 2 minutes thereafter, another person would come in until all 9 have been in there. However, if someone grabs the chip before the 9th, before all of them get in there, the match is still over. Although, we all know that we're going to make all 9 appearances here. First in was Scorpio Sky and Frankie Kazarian of SCU. Yes, they are a tag team, but they started the match out against each other. Next out after that was Kip Sabian. Then was Darby Allin. Then the next one was Orange Cassidy. And Orange didn't know what the rules were for the ladder match, even though he was told time and time again. He just didn't know how to set up the ladder. He just kept reaching up, standing on the ladder wrong, just tilting it sideways, trying to stand on it. It was hilarious. Then we get Joey Janela, who replaced Rey Fenix because he was injured in Dynamite the previous Wednesday. Then it was Colt Cabana. I'm sorry, Colt Cabana was before Joey Janela. But that's okay. They all come out anyway. Then it was Luchasaurus. And finally, it was the mystery person. Now, it's not anybody that probably a lot of people picked, and myself included. I didn't even include it in my poll list because I didn't think it was going to happen. And the mystery person was the Machine, Brian Cage, and his manager, Taz. Yes, Taz is now his manager / trainer / whatever the hell you want to call him. So I think that's an odd pairing, but it'll work, I'm sure. After Cage just destroys everybody after a few minutes, he just climbs the ladder and grabs the chip. So now he gets a shot at the AEW World Championship. Now, and that's exactly what I said in what was going to happen in my prediction show. I said the TBA, the person that was going to come in as the mystery person, was going to win the match. And that's not something I looked up. That was something I had no prior knowledge of. It was just something that I did. That I knew was going to happen because they kept it such a secret to everybody that they had to win that match. It was going to be that big. Well, he can't get much bigger than Brian Cage, I guess. Next was MJF versus Jungle Boy. This is a good match in itself all around. MJF works on Jungle Boy's arm to set up the Salt of the Earth finisher later. MJF fakes an injury, which of course he does because he's MJF, to take advantage of Jungle Boy. Jungle Boy later in the match hits an insane Liger bomb on the apron to MJF, and it looked ugly. It looked like MJF hurt himself, but he didn't. After a few pin reversals back and forth, MJF with a modified European clutch to get the pin and the win over Jungle Boy. That's quite interesting. It's a interesting way for him to win that match, but it was effective. And then it was the AEW TNT title match. The belt looks awful. From what I was told, it was unfinished and it needed to go back. But the company that was making the belt had to make respirators instead. So once that's all done and said and over with, they're going to bring the belt back and have it finished. It looks awful. And Mike Tyson's going to present it to the winner. It's Cody versus Lance Archer. Archer hits the blackout immediately as soon as the bell rings, but unable to put Cody away because Cody had rolled out of the ring. During the match, the camera cuts to Tyson a few times, and he seems to enjoy the violence that's going on inside the ring. Cody hits a DDT, so Archer in return hits a spine buster. Both Jake and Arn after that get thrown out. Jake comes back, but Mike Tyson intercepts him, which allows Cody to hit 2 crossroads and pins Archer to become the first AEW TNT champion. And Tyson was being nice about it, and he actually handed the belt to Cody, which I thought he was just going to knock him out. Then there was an update on Britt Baker. The doctor there, I don't know what his name was, but Dr. Sampson, says she has 2 types of tears in her knee and an ACL tear, and that she'll be on Dynamite to let everybody know how long she's going to be out. Sorry, it's humid out here, and I just keep getting the phlegm. Next, it's Chris Statlander versus Penelope Ford, who replaced Britt in this match. Not much here. Penelope had a draping DDT, but Chris ends it with the Big Bang Theory. I didn't find the match very interesting at all. That was probably the dull point of the entire pay-per-view. Then Shawn Spears comes down and grabs a mic and says, Dustin's not here, and tells the ref to start the match and a 10 count. But Dustin's music hits, and he looks surprised. But Dustin comes up from behind him and just beats the holy hell out of him for like 4 minutes. Strips him down to his underwear. And Spears has a picture of Tully Blanchard on his crotch, a face shot. I don't know why. Don't ask, guess for comedy relief. Dustin spanks him, hits him with the final reckoning, and Dustin picks up the win in about 4.5 minutes. It's what I expected. It was going to be a quick match, but next up, it's the AEW Women's Championship match. It is a no DQ and no countout match. And of course, Nyla was dominant through most of this match. Nyla goes to the top rope, but Shida joins her up there. Shida delivers a Avalanche Falcon Arrow, then a running knee, but Nyla kicks out at 2. A kendo stick shot or 2, and another knee, and Shida picks up the victory and becomes the new AEW Women's World Champion. Then we get main event number 1. It is the AEW Heavyweight Championship match. Jon Moxley, who was the champion, versus Brody Lee. It doesn't take long for this match to just go haywire and go outside. As of course it would with these two, because John said there was going to be much violence here. So of course it went out there. Lee hit a fallaway slam into some guardrails. Mox puts Lee through a table. Mox then hits a paradigm shift through the ramp. Yes, I said through. Mox is the first to emerge. He crawls into the ring. When Brody gets out, eventually, his head is gashed open and he's bleeding everywhere. Mox with another paradigm shift. Lee kicks out at 1. He hits a third paradigm shift. Lee kicks out at 2. Moxley locks in a rear naked choke. And then Lee just passes out, so the ref stops the match. So Jon Moxley retains his AEW title. Then we get main event number 2. It is the Stadium Stampede match. The Elite and Matt Hardy versus the Inner Circle. And they all get introduced like they would at the Super Bowl. You know, one by one, they would all come out. It's really weird. I thought it was kind of cool, though. The match starts, and then they both run to the center of the field at the 50-yard line, because that's where the ring is. Yes, I said run. They were on opposite sides of the field. It was weird. And not too long after that, all hell breaks loose. There's weapons. There's every kind of thing you can think of. All kinds of ridiculousness happens here. You got Matt Jackson jumping off the goalpost, doing a moonsault. It's really weird. Then Hangman Page comes out after all this melee, and he's looking for Sammy. He comes out on a horse, which I think is one of the awesomest entrances ever. He goes from one side of the arena or stadium to the other, goes in the back. He gets to the bar, the stadium bar, and he decides to stop and have a few drinks, which was kind of funny. And ridiculousness doesn't end there. Sammy comes out and gets the 100-yard Northern Lights suplex. Basically, it's hilarious. Matt Jackson just from goal line to goal line, just repetitive Northern Lights suplexes over and over and over again. It takes a lot of core strength to continue to do that. Jericho wants a replay on his pin on Nick, so the ref goes in a replay booth, and Jericho follows, and the ref just tells him to leave because it's funny. Santana and Ortiz throw Matt Hardy into the VIP pool and dunk him under several times. Every time Matt emerges, he's a different Matt Hardy. Goes through basically every persona he's ever had in wrestling. It's hilarious. Sammy then gets woken up by the sprinklers and thinks he's won the match because he's the only one around. He looks around and nobody's, up and around and about. Everybody's in the stadium somewhere else. He thinks he's won the match. It's hilarious. But lo and behold, Hardy and Omega come out with a golf cart and chase him down again. Sammy makes the Lambo leap into the stands, which is funny to see. And they try to chase Sammy down, and then out of nowhere comes a video that says Neo on it. And it pans back, and it's a drone. It must be Matt Hardy's new drone, and it's so high-tech, it's ridiculous. It looks awesome, which distracts Sammy long enough for Omega to hit a V-trigger and then do a one-wing angel from the stands 20 feet through a setup that was in the tunnel area. I don't know what it was, but it was a frickin' holy crap drop. And then Omega just puts his arm over top of Sammy and picks up the 1, 2, 3 for the win for the Elite. So the Elite stand tall in the end, and then the scoreboard in the back says the Elite. Well, that's the end of the show. Tell me what you think in the poll above my head. And until next time, always be Elite.
Never look back, no, never say die. Always attack with the warrior.